All of my projects are circles, and you will find greater success yourself if you start making circles too. Now you're going to see me doing a lot of things in this video, and I'm figuring it out as I go because this is only the second tool I've ever restored. I get a lot of people that will say, hey, you make some really cool stuff. I really wish I could do that. And that statement always kind of rubs me the wrong way. Not negatively, but just I wish people would give themselves more credit, because I think everyone has the capacity to do what it is that I do, whether you're a beginner or whether you are doing an entirely different craft and looking to do something more advanced. What I often think is missing is confidence. Now I can already hear the pushback of, oh, it's really easy to say that from your perspective because you've been doing this for years. Experience is important, but I would argue that your mindset is more important, which is why you should be making circles. Let's do a little thought experiment. Raise your hand if you know how to draw a circle. Now, how many times would it take you to draw one? You'd probably get it on your first try. Now what if I asked you to draw a circle inside a circle, or two that are nearly the same size, or side by side and barely touch? Well, how about if I wanted like a near perfect circle? I wanted it to look just super symmetrical. It might take you a few times. You might have to try multiple times to get it to look just right, erasing, throwing away paper, but it's still pretty doable. And I approach every project with the confidence that, yeah, I can draw a circle. Now, I often find myself way wrong about my abilities to do so, whether it's a new skill, venturing into new territory where it's like, I think it's only going to take me 10, when in reality it's like 150. I still think that eventually I'll get to the circle, and this tool is a prime example of it. Success is derived from two things: persistence and a willingness to fail. Now, it's not the same straight line for every person trying out a new thing. New things are scary and hard, and everyone has kind of their own learning curve. Some people get a little faster than others, but it's doable. In my case, woodworking was something that just clicked. I attribute my capacities and talent as being equal parts intelligence, passion, and stubbornness. But making a thing your life is really easy to do when you love everything about it, and I've been sponging up woodworking ever since I found it. I make a lot of mistakes, and I will absolutely stomp my feet, throw a tantrum, and piss whine about all the little things that I am doing incorrectly in my own eyes. And some of it's okay, reasonable, and others are a little on the perfectionistic, anal retentive side. And I know at times I can rub people the wrong way when I complain about my work, how I struggle with the process of creating something new or finding a solution to a problem or adapting to my many fuck-ups. Because from the outside looking in, at times I make this work look easy. And when you're struggling with something that you think is simple and you see my work or other creators as masterpieces, but we're complaining, I understand how it can be a little chafing. But something I want to communicate with you is the process, because that's the important part. Unfortunately, my process isn't always smooth.
Wanna know why I can't have nice things? Because I can't keep them. Because I lose them. All the time. And now... I don't know where the fuck I put the handle. Do this to myself. Often.
I might make the complex look easy, but I'm doing the same thing with every project, just on a different scale. Doesn't matter if it's a project that requires new skills, new methods, or I've done it a dozen times. I try. I try to make it work. If I don't know how to do a particular step, I do research. I watch a tutorial. I ask someone smarter than me, because there's a lot of them out there. If I think I can figure it out as I go, I do that too. Both have insane value. You can watch all the content you want, read all the books, learn all the tips and tricks, but you have no idea how a thing is going to work out until you try it. On the other hand, trying blindly will yield results. They may not be good ones, but you will have something. So it's good to use a combination of learning and doing. I spend a lot of time doing both. I absorb woodworking material. It's just my jam. But I'm also big on the trial by fire methodology. I need to play around. I need to experiment. I need to try tools and methods and see what works and what doesn't work by doing it myself. Restoring this tool is a great example of me figuring it out as I go. What's the best way to remove all the junk? What's the best way to clean it up? I try different tools, different methods. And through this process, I'm learning what works and what doesn't. I am learning as many of the do's as I am the don'ts, which includes things like don't grab hot things when they're hot because you will burn yourself. And yes, I have melted skin to prove that I did this during this project. And there are going to be plenty of people who are going to watch this. We'll call them enthusiasts, who are going to say, hey, you're doing this all wrong. You are fucking this up. Why did you do it that way? That is totally ass backwards. And while they may take a spicy tone with me and lacked the tact to communicate effectively, they're not entirely wrong. But that's okay because I'm learning. Well, I got my handle seated, but there's a little lip and it's not seated entirely. Cleaned off most of the blade. And so now I am sanding both the metal part and the wood, because I also smudged a bunch of black metal into the handle, and I want it to look a little cleaner moving forward. Ironically enough, there is another way to produce success, and that is to lower your standards. See, when I got started with this particular project, I had the mindset that I was going to perfectly create new handles, that everything was going to get seated, and then I was going to mirror polish this blade. Two things occurred while doing this. One, the first I realized is this is an old tool, and I kind of like it looking like an old tool. There's something kind of respectful about it being beat up and worn and showcasing it. This might have also been a conclusion that I came to after working on it and realizing that doing what I wanted to do before was a lot more work when I didn't necessarily know what I was doing. But by challenging my own assumptions, by asking why does it need to be perfect? Why does it need to be polished? Why does it need to be X, Y, or Z? Lets me sit and evaluate, is it really that important? By challenging my assumptions, by lowering my standards, by asking myself if it mattered, I was able to be totally okay with the fact that it isn't perfect. I set out to restore the tool, and I did. It has new handles, it got put together, everything's snug, it's semi-polished, and it's sharp. At the end of the day, you're just making circles. Don't worry how many times it takes, just know you'll get there.